Friday, November 5th. Hello everyone. Today we're going to do a couple of updates. We're going to start by doing our wasabi plant update and then afterwards a garden update. Here is our wasabi plant that is about 13 months old from the time we planted it. And we started with a rhizome that was about 3 inches long. It's died back a little bit, so to speak, because of the warm summers. And now that it's cooling off, we're hoping that in about a month or so these smaller leaves will have a chance to grow into larger leaves like this. And then from then on, we're going to debate on whether to harvest the wasabi and see how it is underneath the soil. So maybe in December or something we'll do that, or hold off and let it grow some more. So that's our wasabi update. It's still being covered up from our warm sun. This has been a very warm fall, and some of the things in the garden have been liking the warm weather, including the papaya that's up here. We have some that are ripening. Some are small. We give those to our tortoise and rabbit as treats, and then some are big enough that we can scoop out with a spoon and eat. So this is our papaya plant that we grew from seed. And then we're growing a couple of more iterations of corn. Over here we have some Cherokee White Eagle corn. These plants aren't as big as they can be because they were harassed by things that were digging at them, like our ducks and chickens. But on this side here we have some glass gem corn, and the ears have been pollinated. I'm very hopeful that they'll actually grow into ears of corn. And over here we have some red cabbage seedlings. Hopefully there's enough sunlight here that will make some cabbages for us. And then the bitter melon plant is trying to grow still. So we have a little tiny bitter melon that we can harvest and eat. And then later on we'll go inside the greenhouse and look at the Luffa that has grown. Over here our peppers are still producing because of that warm weather. So here's a jalapeno and I noticed that some cayenne peppers are still producing. The cayenne peppers are going to be obviously smaller now because it's cooled off. And then over here we saw our eagle corn, and then we have some fall tomatoes. Fall tomatoes, if you've been on the channel for a little bit, you know that's a goal of mine. And this year I spent a little bit more concerted effort to trying to growing the plant. So we have this early girl hybrid that is known to produce in a shorter amount of time, and some of them have started to turn color, so we can actually pick these and let them ripen in the kitchen. And then another variety that is a smaller tomato is the Costoluto Genovese, and I just noticed we have a blossom end rot on that one. So these are the smaller ones that probably has a good chance of growing during the fall. And so we have those ones. Cherry sized tomatoes obviously can grow year round here, but I wanted something a little bit bigger than cherry size, and some more flavor like the Costoluto Genovese. And we'll head into the greenhouse and look at what's in here. We'll see a couple of giant Luffa, and these are from plants that was started by a friend, and we were just growing Luffa to see how they would grow with our different microclimates. So we have friends that are more coastal. We're here in an area close to downtown LA, and then our friend is in northern Orange County. So we have this giant Luffa that's here. This is the biggest one we've grown. It's probably the variety. And then there's another one, if you can see the silhouette of it, it's on the greenhouse panel. So it's playing chicken. I was hoping that it wouldn't get so heavy that it'll break our panel. This one I was concerned about, so I stuck it through the greenhouse vent so that it can hang. Other things in here, we have, this is an ornamental plant. This is called tropha, and it's got these really cool flowers. It's a hobbyist plant. People actually grow it to bonsai it and get this bottom portion called a caldex, and they want the round portion of it. But actually I'm after the flowers, so we're not going to bonsai this guy. We're going to let the plant grow as big as possible, make as many flowers for us as possible. After it flowers, it will form a seed pod, or it can form a seed pod, and the seed pods are green and they're actually pretty interesting as well. So we're hoping to see flowers and seed pods. The other thing in here is a king tanger mandarin that we grafted earlier this year. So we did a cleft graft onto a rootstock that is from a seed that is my late dad's orange plant. So his plant makes oranges. I take the seed, I grow them, and grow as a rootstock. And we have some mandarin oranges here. These are king tanger. So I'm hoping to go in a little bit more detail about them once they ripen, and then we get to do a taste test. Very interesting variety here. The other things in the greenhouse that we're testing is to see if we can get basil to grow year round. So this is Thai basil, and they've always been really expensive at the market. They're like $6 a pound, and these days with food prices going up, herbs are really worth growing. So we're hoping to be able to grow them in the greenhouse. Then this one is a little bit more difficult to find. This is called epazote. It's a Mexican herb, and it's one that is used in pozole. So we're hoping to be able to add this to our dish. It's got a very interesting aftertaste. You're gonna find it hard to believe, but to me it tastes like, has this buttery aftertaste, like, you know, refined butter, ghee. You take butter and then you melt it down and you get that clear liquid, and it tastes a little bit like that. When you smell it, it has a little bit of a resin smell, like a pine sap, similar to pine sap. And then the texture of it, it's got this lettuce type texture. So it's a very interesting herb. And then we have another herb that is new to us. This is a Peruvian basil, and it has more of the camphor flavor in it, more of the herbal type of flavor, and very similar to Vana tulsi. So it's very interesting. It's a very crunchy leaf. So that's what we have in here. And then I'm just noticing some onions that sprouted. So we're hoping to grow onions. I just sprout them whenever, and eventually they'll grow something for us. If they don't bulb up, we at least have the green onion. And let's head out here and see a couple more things before we end our update today. We started sowing or planting garlic. So in this cart here we have one of my favorite types of garlic to grow, and that's the chestnut red garlic. And then we have on this side of the label here a new to us variety called I think it's pronounced Pehoski, Pehoski, and the bulbs were shared with us by a friend, so I want to thank Jenna for sharing that. And then over here we have more garlic and another variety that I like, which is the Thai fire. So we have the garlic here, and then another one of my favorites, the Spanish roja, the Ajo Rojo. So that's what we have over here. And then up on this newer terrace we have beans. These are the, blanking out on the name, the cattle bean. So they have this red pattern. Let me break it open, try to break it open and let you see. So it's really cool that we're getting another planting of beans, and hopefully we'll be able to make a cassoulet with it. It's here we go. Bear with me, I'm trying to do this one-handed. And not break up the bean because it's soft right now. Earlier in the year, if you caught one of the updates, you'll see our first harvest. So here it is. As it dries, the color gets more pronounced, so it becomes a dark red and creamy color bean. So we're gonna make a cassoulet with it. And the other ingredient we needed for the cassoulet is chervil. So this is an herb that's new to us, chervil. And this dish is a classic dish by Jack Papan, and I really love what he's done throughout his career, which is to make dishes that are really budget friendly and accessible. So we've been going through his cookbook and making stuff, And down this way you'll see the Cherokee white eagle corn. So these are the ones that are really nice and happy. The stalks are really thick and they're starting to tassel. And we have another planting of the white eagle corn in our front yard, and those plants are happy too. And I started noticing that the ears were starting to pop out, the tassels were popping out over there. So it's very interesting. These were all grown at the same, sowed at the same time, transplanted at the same time, but because of where they're planted, they may make silks and tassels at different times. And lastly, our pet chickens and fertilizer makers are getting on to about 12 weeks old now, and they're in this run here so that they can, fertilize the corn area. And if you're curious about what breeds they are, this is a splash color of the blue red laced Wyandotte, and that over there is a Bantam hen. She's a Bantam buff Brahma. And then this girl over here, she is a blue copper Maran, and her copper colors are starting to come in. It's hard to pick up on camera, but on her back and her neck, they're starting to come in. So those are our latest additions to our backyard garden slash urban farm, where our pets help us turn forage into manure for our plants. So that's our update today. Thanks for coming out and checking out and hanging out. We'll see you in the next one.